even if it's been many, many years since it's been released. It deserves attention. It deserves to be on people's list of some of the greatest cinema that there is. It's a beautiful story. It's got amazing acting. It's crisp, it's clean, and it transforms. It's a film. It's not just a movie, it's a film. Hello my YouTube friends, I hope this finds you well. Today I really want to talk about one of my favorite films that not many people I know talk about or even know about. I don't understand how it could have flown under the radar for so long and so few people have seen. When I used to substitute teach, I used to tell the kids about this film all the time. Kids, they're not kids, they're teenagers, they're young adults. When I used to talk to them about this film, it was because it really is a coming-of-age film. It's a film that really forces you to look at your life, forces you to examine your decisions. You know, what are your beliefs? What are your true beliefs? Do you believe people can change? And that's what this film is really about. So, The Education of Charlie Banks is directed by Fred Durst. A lot of people my age, 90s, early 2000s, Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit were the show. They were punky, they were grungy, they had hip hop, they had rap, they had metal. You would never have taken that person to create a film that's so beautifully dramatic and transformative and thought-provoking. So it stars Jesse Eisenberg as Charlie Banks and Jason Ritter, who plays Mick. Those are the two foils of this story. The way the movie sets it up is Charlie Banks is upper middle class, well-educated parents, good family, gets good grades. They call him bougie. You know, he has money. He doesn't have to worry about stuff. He doesn't come from a hard life. Things are good for him. Bougie, which comes from the word bourgeois, bourgeoisie. You know, the fanciful, the upper middle class. And Mick, who's a blue-collar guy. You know, he works for his money. He doesn't have the best education. Maybe he doesn't come from the best home life. And he really has to dig. He has to dig for what he gets. You know, it's a socio-political undertone, but that's not what the movie's about. The movie is about the spirit of the person, the ability to transform. Can we transform? Can we become something else? Can we go against nature? When they're in high school, Charlie Banks meets Mick at a party through a mutual friend, Danny. At this house party, Mick is this presence. He has this charisma, this aura about him that all the girls flock to him. And all the dudes either want to hang out with him or they want to fight him. And he's the kind of guy that doesn't back down from a fight. So there's this fight that happens between this alpha male, Mick, and this football player, some random football player. And they go up to the top, the very rooftop, and they fight. And just the way these two fight is interesting because this football player, he's over here, he's warming up, he's talking to his friends, he's like, yeah, he's hyping himself up. He has to change his mentality to be something else to get into this fight. Mick takes off his jacket, takes off his chain, he walks up to the guy and just beats him up. Like his heart rate doesn't change, his mentality doesn't have to change. That's who he is. He's the kind of guy who can just walk up to you and beat you down. It's part of his nature to just be that calm about something that violent. And he nearly kills this guy. So Charlie Banks, very timid, very meek. He doesn't want any conflict. He's the exact opposite of what Mick is. A couple days go by and he goes to the police and he tells them what happened. And there's always this question of whether or not Danny and or Mick know that Charlie is the one who ratted them out. Maybe because he wants to look cool. Maybe because he doesn't want to get hurt. Maybe because he's afraid of retaliation. For whatever reason, he's afraid. So he doesn't testify. And Mick walks free. So years and years go by, and who knows what happens to Mick. Blue collar, big color. You know, that's what they call him. He's living his life the hard way. Charlie Banks, him and Danny, intellectual kids, they go to a good college. One day, Charlie comes out from class. He goes to the room where he's sharing with Danny, their mutual friend, and there's Mick. He hasn't seen this kid in who knows how long. And all of a sudden, in all the places in the world, he sees this guy, the guy that he ratted out. Jason Ritter plays it so beautifully, whether or not he knows, whether or not he's testing Charlie. It's just beautiful acting. And that starts the second act, where we really start to amplify the movie, because Mick is basically crashing with Danny and Charlie Banks for who knows how long. And they go off and they have adventures and they meet people and they go to parties, and Mick is always there. And this fear that Charlie Banks has of Mick slowly becomes friendship. And as he learns who this person is, he begins to like him. Because he doesn't see just this violent hooligan, but he starts to understand the person. Yes, he's a violent, aggressive person, but he's a lot more than that. It's almost as if you can feel that Mick feels he can change and he can become a better person. And all of this comes to a culmination at the end of the film. And then Danny and Charlie now have to question, can we change? The story very closely mimics the themes from The Great Gatsby. At the very end of the film, there's a quote. Charlie Banks gets Mick to read The Great Gatsby, and Mick falls in love with it because he identifies with Gatsby. Essentially, it's a quote about, you can't change the nature of people. People can learn, but you're never going to change the spirit, the essence of who people are. That doesn't change. It's a very poignant line for this film. So I hope that you go out, you watch this film. There is a link for both the DVD copy and the digital copy to be purchased through Amazon. Check it out. Leave me some comments. Tell me what you think of the film. And let's generate some buzz around this movie that it deserves. It's a film. It's not just a movie. It's a film. Because it transforms your spirit. It gives you an outlet for catharsis, and it gives you a mirror in which to reflect on who you are. And that's the criteria of a good film, and that's exactly what this film is. So check it out, leave some comments, tell me what you think. Thanks for watching.